Most people will never tell you this, but your honesty is your greatest weakness. You were raised on the myth that the truth will set you free, but in the halls of power, the truth is a debt you cannot afford to pay. Everything you were taught about morality was designed by people who already won to ensure that you never do. The people winning around you know something you don't. They know that the world is not a meritocracy of virtue. It is a theater of shadows. They are not playing the same game as you. While you are trying to be authentic, they are busy being effective. Look at the history of those who actually shaped the world. They were not the kindest, but the most strategic. Consider the Florentine diplomat Niccolò Machiavelli. He watched the Medici family rise and fall and rise again. He understood that a leader who tries to be good in a world of people who are not will inevitably come to ruin. He wrote The Prince not as a guide to evil, but as a map of reality. He knew the difference between the way men live and the way they ought to live. If you choose the latter, you choose your own destruction. In 1998, a man named Robert Greene took these cold truths. He worked with Joost Elffers to give the book a Bible-like aesthetic. It was a deliberate choice. It signaled authority. It felt like an ancient forbidden text. Since its publication, it has sold over It has been translated into 24 languages. It has been banned in the correctional facilities of California, Michigan, and Utah. Why? Because the state fears the man who understands the lever of influence. They call it manipulative. They call it dangerous. They are right. It is a weapon. In the hands of a prisoner, it is a tool for insurrection. In the hands of a subordinate, it is a manual for the silent coup. You believe that if you work hard, you will be rewarded. This is the naive worldview. The dark reality is Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. It sounds cruel because it is, but look at the corporate titans. Look at the historical conquerors. Do you think the Sun King Louis the No. He orchestrated the labor of thousands and made sure his name was the only one etched into the stone. He used the concept of virtu, not the Christian virtue of being nice, but the Renaissance virtue of being potent. We are entering the year 2026. The world you think you understand is gone. We are living in what analysts call the landscape of deceit. It is a hyper-environment. The cost of a convincing lie has dropped to zero. Generative AI and deepfakes have ended the era of objective truth. If you cannot master Law 3 to conceal in 2026, your intentions are data points. They are mined by algorithms and used to predict your next move before you even make it. To survive, you must become a ghost in the machine. You must learn to use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your A single, well-placed truth can buy you the cover to tell 1,000 necessary lies. Think of Sun Tzu. 2.5 millennia ago, he wrote The Art of War. He said that all warfare is based on deception. When you are able to attack, you must seem unable. When using your forces, you must appear inactive. When you are near, you must make the enemy believe you are far away. This is not just for the battlefield. It is for the boardroom. It is for the social media feed. As of late 2024, hashtags associated with dark philosophy have surpassed 5 billion views. The youth are waking up. They are tired of the toxic positivity of managed corporate culture. They are looking to the shadows for the tools of survival. In 2026, Law 6 is the only law that matters to the masses. Court attention at all costs. In the landscape of deceit, it does not matter if you are talented if no one sees you. Even negative attention is a form of power. It creates a vacuum that you can fill with whatever narrative you choose. Look at the rap mogul 50 Cent. He co-authored the 50th Law with Greene. He understood that fear was his only real enemy. He turned his life in the urban trenches into a brand of fearlessness that reached the number 5 spot on the New York Times bestseller list. He didn't ask for a seat at the table. He built a new table and chose who got to sit with him. You must understand the principle of formlessness. Law 48. This is the ultimate strategy of the Stoic and the strategist alike. Marcus Aurelius taught that you should be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. But Greene takes it further. To be formless is to be unadaptable. If you have no visible shape, your enemies cannot strike you. In a world of digital surveillance and social cancellation, having a fixed identity is a liability. You must be able to shift, to pivot, to become whatever the environment requires while your core remains untouched and unseen. History is littered with the corpses. Consider the fall of the French monarchy. They stayed static they maintained the rituals of the Sun King long after the power had drained from the crown. They failed to realize that power is not a possession, it is a flow. If you do not move with the current, you drown. The Jesuits, led by men like Balthazar Gracian, knew this. Gratian's art of worldly wisdom was a precursor to Greene's work. He taught the necessity of social navigation. He understood that the court is a place of masks. If you take off your mask, you are not being brave. You are being reckless. You are giving your enemies the map to your heart. By 2026, the convergence of Greene's laws and automated social engineering will be complete. We will see the rise of botnets that use Law 12 to bypass human intuition. We will see AI agents that apply Law 7 on a global scale. The landscape of deceit is not a theoretical future. It is the air you're breathing right now. You are being manipulated by forces that have studied these laws better than you have. They are counting on your morality to keep you predictable. You think kindness is a strength? It isn't, not without strategy. Kindness without strategy is just a lack of options. It is a submissive posture. Real strength is the ability to be ruthless when necessary and the wisdom to know when to hold your hand. Robert Greene suffered a stroke in 2018. It changed him. His later work, like The Laws of Human Nature, shifted toward empathy. But do not mistake that for a retraction. He still knows that to understand his books have generated tens of millions in revenue because they speak to a fundamental truth about the human animal that we are desperate to deny. We are primates. We are status-seeking. We are territorial. We are deceptive. The 48 Laws of Power has moved from the fringe to the foundation. It is taught in political science courses as a warning, but the students read it as a manual. The institutions are trying to implement green-proof transparency measures, but they are failing. Why? Because you cannot legislate away human nature. You cannot audit the human heart. If you want to win in 2026, you must stop looking for the truth and start looking for the leverage. You must assume that everyone around you is practicing Law 3. You must assume they are courting your attention for a reason. You must become skeptical of everything, especially your own impulses toward authenticity. Authenticity is a luxury for those who do not have enemies. For the rest of us, there is only strategy. Napoleon Bonaparte did not become emperor of the French by being his authentic self. He became a symbol. He became a force of nature. He utilized the 36 stratagems of ancient China. He knew how to entice the enemy with bait while he prepared the killing blow. He was a master of Law 15, crush your enemy totally. He knew that if you leave a spark, the fire will eventually return. You are living in a time of radical uncertainty. The old gods, the landscape of deceit will swallow the weak and the naive. It will reward those who understand that power is the only currency that never devalues. Silence is often your best shield. Law 4. The more you speak, the more likely you are to say something foolish, and the more predictable you become. Powerful people impress and intimidate by saying less. The legacy of these laws in the post-truth era is a population that is increasingly skeptical of all authority. This is a good thing. Skepticism is the first step towards sovereignty. But skepticism is not enough. You must have a system. You must have a code. Not a moral code, but a strategic one. When you look in the mirror, do not ask if you are a good person. Ask if you are an effective person. Ask if you are the one holding the strings or if you are the one dancing. The laws of power do not care about your intentions. They only care about your results. In 2026, the results will be all that remains. The world is a harsh teacher. It does not provide participation trophies. It provides lessons in the form of losses. If you have been losing, it is because you have been playing by rules that do not exist. You have been waiting for someone to give you permission to succeed. You have been waiting for the world to be fair. It won't be. It never has been. Take the laws. Internalize them. Not so you can become a tyrant, but so you can survive the tyrants. Not so you can deceive, but so you can see through the deceptions of others. Knowledge of the dark is the only true protection against it. The landscape of deceit is shifting. The fog is thick. But those who have studied the history of power can see through it. They see the patterns. They see the stratagems. They see the human animal for what it is. And they act accordingly. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the beginning of real understanding. It is the moment the blindfold starts to slip. Most people will close this and go back to their comfortable lies. They will continue to be sheep, wondering why the world is so cruel. But you are still here. You are listening because you know the truth. Subscribe before you leave. The next video will challenge you even more. We are going deeper into the mechanics of the shadow. We are going to dismantle the myths of the modern world piece by piece. And drop a comment. Was it the necessity of or the realization? Let us know. The conversation in the shadows is just beginning. Stay formless, stay sharp. The year 2026 is coming, and only the strategists will survive.